Welcome back to the XRP Insider Network, the channel where conviction meets clarity and long-term thinking beats short-term noise. If you're here, you already understand something most people still don't. Markets reward patience before they reward price. Before we dive in, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you're locked in for everything coming next. 2026 is not just another year, it's a transition year. Happy New Year 2026 to every single one of you watching. Now, let me ask the question that's been quietly circulating in the background of every serious XRP conversation. What should XRP be trading at each month of 2026? Not based on hype, not based on viral tweets, but based on adoption, structure, and how markets actually price value over time? Here's the thing. Most people look at price backwards. They wait for price to move, then invent a narrative to justify it. Long-term holders do the opposite. They study fundamentals, behavior, and macro structure first, then let price catch up when the market is ready. That's what this breakdown is about. This is not a prediction carved in stone. This is a probability map, a framework for how XRP could progress month by month if real-world usage continues expanding and regulatory clarity remains intact. Let's start with January 2026. January is almost always misunderstood. People expect fireworks because it's a new year. But markets don't care about calendars, they care about positioning. January is when capital resets, when institutions rebalance, and when weak hands shake themselves out quietly. For XRP, a January range of 180 to 220 makes structural sense. This is not weakness. This is foundation building. This is where XRP proves it doesn't need hype to survive. It holds support because utility narratives don't disappear overnight. February is where pressure starts building under the surface. Volatility compresses, price tightens, and smart money starts accumulating before headlines return. A 190 to 240 range reflects a market that's cautiously optimistic, not euphoric, not fearful, just prepared. March is historically when momentum begins creeping back into crypto, risk appetite improves, liquidity rotates, and narratives start moving again. For XRP, pushing into the $2 a hour to 260 zone signals renewed belief. This is where the market starts remembering why XRP never disappeared, even during years when attention shifted elsewhere. April is where structure matters. This is where XRP's use case, cross-border settlement, liquidity provisioning, and interoperability starts becoming visible again in broader financial conversations. A $2.10 to 290 range reflects confidence without mania. And that's important because parabolic moves without structure collapse. Structured climbs build floors. May is where psychology flips. This is the month where skeptics stop mocking and start watching. A 2i30 to 320 range suggests a market transitioning from disbelief to acceptance. This is when long-term holders feel validated, not rich, but right. June continues that progression. Volume improves, liquidity deepens, and XRP benefits from something most digital assets still lack: operational relevance. A 250 to 340 range here isn't speculative. It's aligned with growing payment usage and institutional testing. July is where charts begin telling a different story. Traders notice, algorithms react, momentum builds. XRP trading between 270 and 380 reflects increasing conviction that this asset isn't waiting for permission anymore, it's being used. August often favors altcoins when confidence exists, and if macro conditions remain stable, XRP in the $2.90 to $4.10 range becomes increasingly realistic. This is where patience starts paying emotional dividends, not because price exploded, but because doubt evaporated. September is the inflection month. Institutions return from summer slowdowns, capital reallocates, and forward-looking narratives sharpen. A $3 to $4.50 range reflects a market pricing in future relevance, not past controversy. October is where scenarios begin diverging. Conservative models remain cautious. Bullish models start expanding. If adoption accelerates, if tokenization narratives strengthen, and if global payment systems continue modernizing, XRP testing 310 to $5 hours is not extreme. It's conditional, but realistic. November historically supports optimism. Year-end positioning begins. Scarcity narratives strengthen. A 320 to 550 range reflects confidence without excess. December is where uncertainty expands both up and down. Conservative outlooks place XRP in the mid $3 to $4 zone. Aggressive adoption scenarios extend much higher. A year-end range of 340 to potentially 8E captures both realities. And here's the truth most people ignore. Higher prices don't come from louder hype. They come from quieter execution. XRP has always been about infrastructure, not spectacle. And infrastructure takes time to be recognized. If this perspective is helping you think clearly, take a moment to like the video and subscribe. It supports the channel and keeps these conversations alive. Now let's go deeper because price is only half the story. The why matters more than the number. Now let's talk about the forces that actually determine whether these monthly ranges hold, expand, or fail. Because price does not move in isolation, it reacts to behavior, incentives, and trust. The first major driver is adoption velocity, not announcements, not partnerships on paper, actual usage. When financial institutions integrate XRP for liquidity or settlement, they don't announce it with fireworks. They deploy it quietly, and markets usually notice late. That's why XRP price movements often feel delayed, then sudden. The second driver is regulatory fatigue. At some point, markets stop pricing uncertainty and start pricing outcomes. When clarity becomes boring, capital moves freely again, and XRP benefits disproportionately from that shift because it was restrained longer than most. The third driver is market maturity. Crypto is no longer a fringe experiment, it's a developing asset class. As markets mature, they favor assets with infrastructure value over assets with attention value. That transition alone supports higher floors for XRP over time. But let's be honest, risks still exist. Liquidity shocks, macro downturns, narrative rotations. That's why these ranges are ranges, not promises. Here's what would invalidate this roadmap. If global liquidity dries up, if adoption stalls, if regulatory clarity reverses, markets are unforgiving. They don't reward belief, they reward alignment. Now, here's the part most people miss. XRP does not need perfection to succeed, it needs consistency. Every month it remains relevant. Every corridor it supports, every institution that tests it adds weight to the thesis, and weight eventually bends price. This is why long-term XRP holders don't obsess over daily candles. They watch quarterly behavior, they watch infrastructure adoption. They understand that markets move in stages: disbelief, acceptance, participation, euphoria. Most people only show up for the last stage and wonder why they're late. If 2026 unfolds anywhere near this roadmap, the biggest regret won't be missing the top. It will be doubting the middle, because the middle is where positions are built, not headlines. Let me say this clearly. XRP does not need to replace everything to be valuable. It only needs to do one thing well at scale, and payments at global scale is not a small niche. So as we move through 2026, month by month, price by price, remember this. Markets reward preparation long before they reward certainty. If you're still here, you're already early, even if price doesn't feel like it yet. And that's the quiet truth few will admit. If this breakdown helped you see the year ahead more clearly, make sure you're subscribed and notifications are on. This channel exists to cut through noise, not amplify it. 2026 is not about overnight miracles. It's about steady validation, infrastructure being used, not promised. And when the market finally catches up, it won't ask who waited patiently. It will simply move. Happy New Year 2026. Stay disciplined, stay informed, and stay positioned.